recap of Monday Night Raw for January the 18th, 2021, as we get closer to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which is less than 2 weeks away. Let's go ahead and get started with the recap. Shout out to the chat room watching live. We kicked off with the traditional Martin Luther King Day tribute video package. Happens every year. It's a tradition in WWE to honor the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We then had a dark room with Randy Orton to respond to his fireball attack, courtesy of Alexa Bliss on last week's show. Orton was wearing this mask, luchador mask, kind of looked like Mr. Wrestling's mask back in the day. Maybe this could be Mr. Wrestling 3. We had Orton talk about how the voices have never been louder. And he talked about showing compassion for Alexa Bliss several weeks ago when he could have set her on fire. And then last week he was about to claim his latest victim when Alexa interrupted and took him out with the fireball. Orton said that he is wearing the mask to protect himself and protect others from what he suffered at the hands of Bliss. And he said he considers himself lucky enough that he got first-degree burns, and it was not more. He doesn't blame Alexa, but rather he blames him, the Fiend. And the Fiend can do whatever he wants, but Randy Orton vowed to win the Royal Rumble. Nothing will stop him from winning the Rumble match. He said he enjoys the pain and it fuels his every move. And he lit a match and he blew out the match end segment. Very interesting segment for sure, with the Randy Orton mask, and it looked like his nose might have had like burn effects, burn makeup put on it. I wonder if Orton will sell this attack for several weeks and actually wear the mask at the Royal Rumble, or at least maybe wear some bandages or something. I'm curious to see how long he keeps the look going. We then had our first match of the evening, which was Ric Flair along with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans going up against Flair's daughter, Charlotte. And before the match, we had Lacey and Flair arrive to the building. And Lacey said that she's just learning from the greatest man to ever step in the ring. And Rick is just there to watch Peyton Royce knock Charlotte off her throne. So it's actually Peyton Royce versus Charlotte Flair. See, I'm so used to the constant rematches that I'm just sometimes going on autopilot. It was actually Peyton Royce versus Charlotte Flair, which is a rematch in itself. I mean, we've seen them wrestling now for the past several weeks. I mean, it's all one and the same to me. It feels like a blur because we get so many of these rematches. But yeah, Peyton versus Charlotte. And Charlotte started to make a comeback. Before the match even began, though, Peyton attempted to attack Charlotte from behind, and then Charlotte fought back. About midway through the match, Ric Flair showed up, of course, with Lacey Evans out on the stage. And Lacey was wearing a robe. I'm not sure if it was actually one of Ric Flair's robes or if it was a robe made specifically for Lacey Evans. But anyways, Charlotte was momentarily distracted from this. She did not lose, though. Peyton hit a kick to Charlotte, got a near fall. So even though Charlotte was kind of the stupid baby face, did not get the job done for Peyton Royce. And Charlotte managed to finish off Peyton via the figure 8, scored the victory by submission, and held on to it after the match for good measure just to stick it to Peyton. Match was not really that good. And again, I really don't care about the storyline. So that is that. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, I thought Peyton Royce was supposed to be getting a push. Yeah, we all thought that until, well, Vince gave up on that project. And now Billy Kay is getting more of a push than Peyton Royce, which almost feels like Miz and Morrison when they broke up. Everybody thought Morrison was going to be the guy to be world champion, and it turned out to be the Miz. But not sure if Billy Kay is going to be world champion or anything. But yeah, right now it feels like two of them, Billy's getting more of a push in the sense that she's got a real storyline going on and not just coming out and doing the same matches every single week and not really having any kind of momentum build up. And we had the Hurt Business and Matt Riddle backstage. Matt Riddle was not there to pick a fight in that moment. He said that he was going to take the high road. And the response to that was, well, duh. We know you're going to take the high road. You're Matt Riddle after all. Matt Riddle complimented the suits that the Hurt Business members were wearing, particularly Lashley's. And Lashley said he likes Riddle's fashion too, with the flip-flops, and then stomped on the floor. I think the idea was he was going to stomp on Riddle's exposed feet, but Lashley stomped on the floor. Camera panned down. Maybe the camera wasn't supposed to pan down all the way, but it happened. And yeah, Lashley stomped on the ground and Riddle sold it. And if anything, he sold the wrong foot, because the foot that he sold was further away from Lashley, probably a good 6 to 8 inches away from Lashley when Lashley stomped on the floor. So yeah, Botchamania getting some good content from this Raw. And as soon as Lashley walked away, Riddle was yelling out, "You're going to see this foot later, right up your ass." And Marquand 1976 says, Kevin Dunn strikes again. Virtue says, blame Kevin Dunn. Well, Kevin Dunn does not actually physically control the camera. He could have cut, but maybe he wasn't expecting the cameraman to pan all the way down. We had Ali cutting a promo talking about Xavier Woods' match with Mace, and Ali said that he hopes Xavier gets injured and misses WrestleMania, so that way Xavier will know what it's like, because of course Ali missed WrestleMania in 2019 due to injury, and that led to Kofi Mania, Kofi winning the title and Ali losing that opportunity. We had Mace versus Xavier Woods. Not much to say about it. Before the match, Woods popped Ali in the mouth, but that did not work out for him in the long run. Mace picked up the victory with his finisher, which looked like complete shit. It looked awful. Not good at all. They were way off on that one. So yeah, not much to say about this. Finish was terrible, and we'll quickly move on from this, because the quicker we move away from Retribution, the better. And yes, MVP Kev, it certainly looked bad. We had a replay of the announcement that was made a few nights ago about WrestleMania 37 taking place at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, which was rumored probably going to have 25% capacity, 2 nights. It was confirmed WrestleMania will be 2 nights once again, just like last year. And I'm thinking that's the case since the next 2 WrestleManias, 38 in Dallas, Texas, and 39 in Inglewood. So they're moving They're moving the LA WrestleMania 2 years ahead now, or 2 years back, however you want to look at it. And this year's WrestleMania will be in Tampa, where it was originally supposed to be last year. And I'm guessing with the 2 nights, they can have, between the 2 nights, 50, 60,000 fans, whatever. Well, maybe not that much, but they'll try to get as many as they can. So maybe one night they have 15,000 and 15,000 the other night. So 30,000 people between the 2 nights. And they'll try, of course they'll inflate the number. WrestleMania drew 50,000 people, yada, 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 something like that. We'll see what they end up doing and what they'll be able to get away with. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this on the No DQ review later this week, so stay tuned for that. We had Alexa's Playground, her new talk show segment replacing the old Moment of Bliss. And she wanted to just talk to Randy Orton on last week's show, but they got a little heated. She brought out her special guest, her opponent in the main event of Raw, Asuka. Alexa had some breaking news. She declared herself for the Royal Rumble match, whatever. And Asuka was excited for this. She started dancing. Alexa got mad. She yelled at Asuka for dancing. And the Fiend's spirit, the ghost of the Fiend was there and managed to calm Alexa down. And Asuka tried to calm Alexa down, saying that the Fiend is still there with her. And Alexa said, "Do not ever say his name." And then Asuka just took her leave, like completely freaked out by all this. And there was a wooden horse that started rocking back and forth. And Alexa sat down for some comfort. Very bizarre segment. That's really all I have to say about it. Alexa does a great job. But yeah, this one was pretty strange, I will say. We had Double J, Jeff Jarrett, making a prediction for Bill Goldberg, Billy Boy, Whisker Biscuit, and Drew McIntyre. And Jarrett went with his old nemesis Goldberg, saying, to quote Toby Keith in that classic song, Goldberg, he might only be as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, "What do you mean, whatever? Bliss could win the Royal Rumble." Yeah, it's more the whole declaring yourself into the Royal Rumble instead of WWE just either announcing people or letting it be a surprise, like we don't know who's going to be in the Rumble. I'd rather they just not tell us who's going to be in the Rumble, so we get that element of surprise. Like that's why I said whatever. I'm happy she's in it. I hope she wins it. But I was expecting her to be in it anyways. We had Mandy Rose versus Shayna Baszler again. Nia Jax was there on commentary. And Shayna Baszler went after the arm of Mandy Rose, as she would tend to do with any opponent. Mandy got a near fall with a roll-up pretty early on, but then you had Shayna pick up the victory with the Karafuda clutch. And afterwards, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler argued. The whole storyline here really was more about Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, that they're not getting along and they're going to explode at the Royal Rumble. After the match was over, as they were arguing on the outside, Dana Brooke shoved Nia Jax into the ring post and then ran off with Mandy. And then afterwards, backstage, Shayna Baszler mentioned Charlotte Flair and how now is the time to cash in their rematch, and they're not gonna let their issues get in the way of winning back the tag team titles. So I guess we'll see that at some point, maybe the Rumble. And Caleb Jacobs says, "How funny would it be if Lana won the Royal Rumble?" Highly unlikely in all likelihood. But I'll tell you what, Caleb Jacobs, I'll tell you what. If Lana wins the Royal Rumble, I'll send you a free t-shirt. How about that? TJS with a $3 super chat says, no Keith Lee on this show. Yikes, man. RIP his push. Does he really need to be on TV every single week? Like, I'm okay with him missing a week every now and then. And maybe there was a reason for it. Or maybe he was just backstage. I know Sheamus was backstage. He was not on the show either. I don't think he needs to be on the show every single week, especially when the booking can be shoddy. Like, sometimes I think it's good to keep him away for 1 week. And TJS says, out of sight, out of mind. True, but 1 week I don't think is going to kill him. We had Charlotte Flair interviewed, and she talked about Lacey Evans and how it's all about Lacey's 15 minutes of fame, using her dad's name to get ahead. And she said that maybe Lacey can wear the robe, but she'll never be able to wear Charlotte's crown. Again, I really don't care much about this storyline, but okay. We had Adam Pearce backstage with Ricochet, and apparently Ricochet, just like Drew Gulak, is so low on the totem pole that he has to qualify for the Royal Rumble. You know, all these guys just, they can declare themselves for the match, but not Ricochet. The guy that, well, not really went toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar, but actually had a match with Brock Lesnar. This guy has to qualify. And his opponent was AJ Styles. And we had this match, which was, in my opinion, the best match of the night. Really good stuff from these guys. And I love the finish here. And I thought it was, again, smart with what was done with Omos, which was not too much, but a little bit to, you know, make him look intimidating. Before the match, they had Omos standing there next to Adam Pearce, looking very intimidating. And during the match, Ricochet did a dive over the top. He meant to get AJ, but AJ moved out of the way, and Ricochet fell and was caught by Omos. The referee instructed Omos to let go of Ricochet, so he did. He just dropped Ricochet, and considering how tall Omos is, that's a pretty big fall. So the match continued, and back and forth between these two guys. Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, which was countered into a recoil for a near fall. Ricochet delayed with his pinfall, so maybe if he had gotten it quicker, he would have won the match. And then Ricochet went up to the top, but Styles cut him off. And then Styles picked up Ricochet and basically slingshotted Ricochet off the top rope, turning that into a Styles clash. Really awesome finisher here. I thought this was great. And Styles picked up the win with the Styles clash. And Elan Brown says Ricochet is officially a jobber. Tic Tat Tat says phenomenal Styles clash finisher. And Caleb Jacobs says AJ and Ricochet have awesome chemistry. I agree. Great stuff here from these guys. And yeah, poor Ricochet. Doesn't even declare himself. Stupid babyface. And then he loses his qualifying match. But match was really good. Marquand 1976 with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Says, Ricochet, I declare for the Rumble. WWE, no, you must qualify because reasons. Well, the reason is that Ricochet's a scrub, just like Drew Gulak. If you're a star, you can just declare yourself because WWE wants the stars in the Royal Rumble. But if you suck, then WWE's like, well, we want to reserve those spots for the good wrestlers. Well, you know, good in the sense of star power. If you're a scrub, even if you're a good wrestler, you're still a scrub. And if you're Ricochet, you got to qualify because you're a scrub. We had the biggest dirt sheet of all time with The Miz and John Morrison. Extra dirty, said Morrison, because they had Bill Goldberg, Whisker Biscuit, as the special guest of this dirt sheet episode. However, swerve, it was not Goldberg. And I was thinking to myself as this was all playing out, I was thinking, Dwayne Gill just had a heart attack 2 months ago. Surely he's not going to be coming back here. But sure enough, and don't call me Shirley, it was Gillberg making his grand return. And I'm happy for Dwayne Gill that he recovered and he was able to make this appearance. I thought that was pretty awesome to see him again. And Gillberg came down, cut a promo. He had his usual sparklers for his entrance. He talked about how he bashed his head into a wall backstage and he had smoke coming out of his ass. But then all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre's music hit. And before I get to that, Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Ricochet is Quam Brown of WWE, a bona fide scrub. Well, I have no idea who that is, or maybe I do, sports guy. That's the only thing I can think of. And I'll take your word for it that he's a scrub. Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike B. Sent in a, what is that, a cat? Not sure if that's a cat or squirrel. Looks like a cat saying good job. I appreciate that, Mike B. Thank you very much for the super chat. Or fox, maybe, as Jose points out. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a cat or a fox, quite frankly. Maybe Mike B can give us some insight as to which sticker he picked. Biblical Adrian is saying fox, so maybe it is a fox. Goldberg was not there, of course, and why would he be without being properly advertised? So the question is, was it really Drew McIntyre? Because, the whole COVID thing. Of course, wasn't Drew McIntyre. WWE would not bring him back this quickly, but rather it was an imposter. And apparently he's a fairly well-known actor. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but I included it in the post on NoDQ.com. If you want to check out the video clip, maybe somebody in the chat room can throw up his name. Semi-well-known actor, I guess. He came out as Drew McIntyre, had a little tiny sword. And they referred to him as Drew McInfart, which was nice. Poor Adam Pearce will never let that down. It lives on in 2021. And Samoa Joe said, this is Clayless instead of Claymore. That was cute. And his ass crack was showing. He talked about how he's going to kick Goldberg's ass back to 1998. And Morrison, he did not approve of the accent. And then Miz started yelling at Morrison. They were arguing. The McIntyre, McInfart actor, he started talking in his normal New Jersey accent. And finally, they all got it together. Miz said that both Goldberg and McIntyre are going to lose at the Royal Rumble because Miz will be cashing in Money in the Bank because he's the Miz and he's next. A lot of people on Twitter hated this segment. I actually thought this was one of the funnier ones, and that's not really saying much, but I'll admit I laughed a couple of times. I liked the ass crack, although that's total Vince humor. I'm sure Vince loved that. But I maybe it was just a laugh of embarrassment, but I did laugh at it. I laughed at Gillberg and Drew McIntyre with the accent. It was mildly amusing. Better than the other segments, I'll say that. But probably nothing that's going to be winning any kind of awards or anything. And, considering McIntyre has COVID and you don't want to bring out Goldberg every week, it was all right for what it was. And it didn't open the show or close the show, so I thought it was passable. And Mike B with the $2 super chat says a foxy cat as far as that sticker goes with the thinking face. So yeah, maybe it was a foxy cat. We had the Hurt Business up against Matt Riddle and the Lucha House Party. And Riddle's foot was taped up from that stomp to the floor, you know, it was just so devastating. That's how powerful Lashley is. He stomps on the foot, stomps on the floor, and if you're like within a 6-inch radius, it's gonna hurt your foot. But the real storyline of the match was Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. They were not getting along. They were arguing throughout the entire match. At one point, Shelton shoved Cedric out of the ring. For a while, we had Lashley and Riddle going at it, but then Grand Metalik tagged in, which was his cue to do the job. Cedric and Alexander, well, that doesn't make any sense. Cedric and Shelton were arguing, and Lashley just tagged himself in. He was like, enough of this BS. He got in the ring, hit the spear on Metalik, tapped out Metalik with the Hurt Lock, and then after the match, Riddle came in and took a little cheap shot at Lashley and ran away, but I guess that was his payback from the other week. Whatever. Gary says, Rift, I truly believe this bro persona is going to continue to damage Riddle. He needs to let it go. I'm getting annoyed of it. Anyone else think that? Well, I'm sure you're not the only one, Gary, when it comes to that. And Psycho Jet Black says the stomp the floor is a reference to the Super Mario Boss Turtle doing the stomped paralyzed Mario. Yeah, I remember that, and that was quite the pain in the rear. I think it was the Sumo brother, the big one from Mario 3. We had Drew McIntyre cut a promo from his home gym, and he said he respects Goldberg, but that doesn't outweigh what he will do to win the championship, and he said he will be coming back to Raw next week, and it was confirmed. Next week, we will have Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. They will be there on Raw next week. And I'm guessing McIntyre will be cleared. He will test negative and will be good to go for next week as the final segment before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Todrick says, yo, the fake Drew was the head elf in the Santa Claus movies. Well, here's a little breaking news. I have never seen any of the Santa Claus movies. Not a big Tim Allen guy. Never could get into Home Improvement. But anyways, maybe I should give those movies a chance. Here's another fun fact. I never saw Elf until a year ago, and I actually liked it. Back to wrestling, we had Elias yelling at Jackson Riker backstage. And yes, I know Jose failed. Total fail. Home Improvement was like a classic show in the 90s, and I just couldn't get into it. So Elias was yelling at Jackson Riker backstage because of Riker not helping him last week. We had Riker versus Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy was on the verge of perhaps beating Riker. He went for a twist of fate, but hit a neck breaker instead. I'm not sure if that was a botch or not, but he hit a neck breaker, went up to the top for the twist of, or the swanton, excuse me, and Elias shoved Hardy off the top, causing a disqualification. And then after the match, Riker, I guess, got his heat back, as they say, by dropping Jeff Hardy. This whole thing really did nothing for me. I thought we were done with Elias and Jeff Hardy, and it's just continuing now with no real clear direction. Just something to get these guys on TV and really nothing else. And Psycho Jet Black says, have you ever seen Toy Story? It has Tim Allen in it. Couldn't really get into Toy Story either. I'm not a big Disney guy either, which will probably shock a lot of people. I like Disneyland, but I think it's a little overhyped. Just my opinion. And Disney as a whole, not into Disney, not into Star Wars, which will probably shock a lot of people, but could never get into any of that stuff. Anyways, back to wrestling. I'm losing my cool points or nerd points with everybody, whatever you want to call it. Don't watch football, don't watch Disney, don't watch Star Wars, so yeah, I'm a little nuts. We had Alexa Bliss versus Asuka in the Raw main event, and Asuka got a hot start, was taking control of things, but Alexa was just smiling. She was enjoying the punishment. And then all of a sudden, the lights went out, and we had a commercial break. When we returned, Alexa had transformed. She had a different outfit. She was wearing this dark lipstick, and she just stood there, very intimidating. Asuka tried to kick her. Alexa ducked. Asuka went for some punches, and Alexa blocked them. And Alexa tried to put on the mandible claw, which Asuka managed to avoid and almost managed to take Alexa down, but Alexa hit the Sister Abigail, picked up the win to pin the Raw Women's Champion clean. And Elon Brown says Asuka looked weak. Here's my take on it. So Asuka has not lost much, so I'm more okay with it because Asuka's had a pretty lengthy run as champion, although she barely defends the title. I think she's had like 2 title defenses in the past 6 months. But she's been champ for a while, and she won the tag titles with Charlotte. She hasn't been doing a lot of jobs. Let's just say that. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, it was almost like a squash in a way. And Asuka's supposed to be this credible champion. I would have maybe had it be a little bit more competitive, but yeah, Alexa getting the big win here over the champ, which is also interesting because she's in the Rumble, and you would think now she should get a title match because she beat the champion. And Marquand 1976 says NXT Asuka would not have been scared of Alexa. Well, this isn't just your bubbly Alexa Bliss of the past. This is a new and darker Alexa Bliss. And after the match was over, we had a little camera effect, and Alexa warped back to her old happy-go-lucky self as Raw went off the air, and she said, "Let me in." So I'm okay with it. Like, this was one of the better instances of the champion losing to somebody who's going to be, I'm guessing, a potential challenger. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they did this. If Alexa's just going to be in the Rumble instead of actually having Alexa challenge for the championship, which I just want to see Alexa win the title. I mean, I think Alexa should beat Asuka and win the championship. Alexa should be the champion, in my opinion. I think it's time to go with somebody new. And Jeff Meacham is here. He said, regarding Disney, he said, "It's all good, brother. We all know I'm enough of a Disney nerd to compensate." Well, that's one thing you and Big Vito have in common. You guys don't have much in common, but Jeff, you and Vito are diehard Disney fanatics. So you guys, maybe that could actually bring you guys together, your love of Disney. But anyways, that was Raw. Show was fine. Wasn't bad. It was all right at times. I enjoyed some of the aspects of it. I liked the stuff with Randy Orton, the promo. Alexa stuff was fine. Weird with Asuka in the Playhouse segment, but main event was interesting. And match with AJ and Ricochet was really good. Definitely, I would recommend checking that out. So C+, same as last week. All right. Nothing that blew me away, but nothing that I thought was really terrible. Even the segments that people hated, I thought it was okay. I mean, the worst thing on the show was probably the stomp. Lashley stomping the floor and Riddle selling it. Marquand 1976 with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, would Alexa have a Fiend-like belt? Why not? I say go for it. Alexa, okay, I'm going to say this right now. Alexa should be the Raw champion for most of 2021, and Naomi should be the SmackDown Women's Champion later this year. At first I was thinking Bianca should be the one, but now I'm thinking it should be Naomi because Jimmy's going to be back soon. Naomi can come in, be part of the faction, the family, the bloodline, and Naomi can represent the bloodline in the women's division. Roman, Usos, and Naomi all holding the championships. I would like to see that happen in 2021. And the game is on 100 with a $5 super chat says, this really show of no selling of Alexa just means this version looks unstoppable to win against, cuz who can beat Asuka transformed into the Fiend mode? Yeah, and all the more reason Alexa should get this big push now. You're going big with her, so you got to go all the way with her now and really make her the face of the Raw division in 2021 and start building up some babyface challenges for her. That's what I would do, at least. Although, is it Alexa technically a babyface? I'm not even sure, because I thought in this whole storyline with the Fiend was the face and Alexa was too, but I don't know. It hurts my brain to even think about it. So Dr. NXT Scorpio gives it a C. Kim Hall with a C+, Jose with a C, Marvin with a C, Gino gives it a B-. Ace and his familiar vlogs with a B, Caleb Jacobs with a C, and MVP Kev with a C, The Game Is On 100 with a C, Israel Diaz with a C, and Mike B with a C. And Jeff Meacham says twitter.com/NWO25 as soon as I'm done. So apparently Jeff's doing something regarding the NWO to celebrate their anniversary, although it's technically not their anniversary yet. Wouldn't that be in July when Hogan turned heel? That's when you should do the big 25-year video of the NWO. And I'll be happy to be on that, Jeff, when that time comes in July. We can do a whole big NWO review video. I'll be sure to be on for that one. Elon Brown says Raw gets a D and AJ and Ricochet saved it from being an F. Wow. And when Jeff says celebrating the whole year, well, there you go. Why not? It's the NWO. Like, it was such a big deal, you might as well celebrate the whole year. 25-year anniversary of a lot of stuff. 25-year anniversary of the Iron Man match. 25-year anniversary of Stone Cold winning King of the Ring. 25-year anniversary of Fake Razor and Diesel. A lot of stuff. 96 was a big year. 25-year anniversary of a lot of stuff. And then next year is going to be 25-year anniversary. We are getting really old. 25-year anniversary of all the stuff in 97. That's crazy. Just really crazy to me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're a fan of No DQ CAW, make sure you follow No DQ on social media, because I plan on making an announcement sometime during Tuesday. But it's not anything new, but it is something regarding No DQ CAW. And there is something new, but not new No DQ CAW content. So I just want to not get anybody's hopes up high about that, but something regarding new No DQ CAW, and then something that's new, and they sort of relate to each other. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys again. Be safe, stay positive, at NoDQDOTCOM on Facebook and Twitter. So follow those accounts, like those accounts, whatever you got to do. And I'll see you guys next time.